Why didn't the intro play?
Hold.
Did we hit it at the same time?
I didn't touch it. Hold.
Well, I think that's a fitting introduction after one of the dumbest weeks of football I've seen in a very long time.
That's fitting, all right. Jeez, that was quite the blooper.
Holy Christmas. Say what you will. There's like a sort of way that reality mimics art, right? So we had the art of football, more like the art of stupidity. We'll get into that later. But what a dumb week. And then we have this, like, I click the button and then it doesn't play. And I'm just like, what's happening? And it's like the stick meme,
come on, do something. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, bro, what are you doing?
Anyway,
how's it going, Jack?
Man, this was quite the weekend to say the least.
Yeah, I agree, Frankie. What a rough day.
Splash, I don't want to talk about baseball, but we're going to talk about baseball a little bit later on.
We could do a brief preview. That's okay. I don't have to mention a certain blue wearing franchise. That's okay.
You mean the Braves? They were blue.
Well, a certain other, like,
different one. Yeah, I get you.
They have a specific kind of blue.
It's a very specific shade
related to their name. Yeah, so we'll talk about that later, potentially, probably not, just a little bit of a World Series preview. With that said, guys, you are watching the Sports Desk. We have the Jackie Robinson episode today, the Mariano Rivera episode today, the Kevin Willis episode today. Big shout out to the big man, Kevin Willis. The old man played so many games in the NBA. I can't think of any other 42s off the top of my head right now, but yeah, let's go with it. Want to start with some hot takes?
Yeah, let's jump right in.
All right, let's pull up the hot take-o-meter. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Jack, so you've had access to the takes feature on U Stadium. Tell the world a little bit about it, because it's still in beta testing. We have to iron out some kinks. So tell us about it.
It's a really cool thing that's going to change the game. Honestly, it really is. Basically, let's say I think. What did I put on here recently? I think that tonight the Montreal Canadiens are going to play against the Seattle Kraken. I think the Kraken are going to win the game by 2 goals. So I made a take for that, and I put it on there as a take. And anybody who agrees with me, how many points did I put on it? I think I put 100 points on it.
I usually do 50 on mine, unless I'm feeling totally ambitious.
No, I put 50 on this one. So I agree with that. I think that's what's going to happen. And somebody else agrees with me. So they also put 50 points into that. One person disagreed. I see that was Splash. Splash disagreed with me. He thinks he doesn't think that's going to happen. So pretty much there's 150 points right now in that take.
I can show you. Frankie, don't fire me, please.
Once it happens, once that gets settled, so if the Kraken win by 2 tonight, then the 150 points it gets split among everybody who agrees.
So when the Canadians don't lose by 2, I get 150 points. But if by God's intervention, the Kraken do win by 2, Jack and the guy that agreed with him both get 75 points apiece. So man, I'm super excited. Like I was scrolling through these takes, and it does kind of suck that we have like 5 or 6 people in the beta, because I want like a ton of takes to like bet all my points on. Because if you go to the play tab on U Stadium, make sure you download the U Stadium app, by the way. I don't know how you got here if you're not on the U Stadium app, but make sure you download the U Stadium app. You can tag me at Splash, call me a moron, and I'll get some points sent your way. I'll get Frankie to send you 50 points if you call me a moron. I'm like second place on the app in points, right? So yeah, I want to spend those points, right? I want to take some folks' money. I was making real life bets. Why make real life bets when you can make bets on U Stadium?
No money whatsoever.
Yeah. And eventually we might have a cash
maybe
out.
Eventually, but for now, right now, you don't have to spend a cent. I think it's really cool too. Like we talk about all these hot takes, but now we can actually like wager on them too. I think that's really dope.
Oh man. So. Speaking of hot takes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Hot take-o-meter. It's not even a 2.0, but we do need to pay respect to a fallen comrade of ours, Jabril Peppers, a legend of the hot take-o-meter, tore his ACL the other day against the Panthers. He will miss the rest of the season. He's a free agent in March, so he is unlikely to play with the Giants again. So our sincerest condolences, Jabril Peppers. The news broke too late to add him to the graphic, but you're in our hearts, buddy.
He is. We were going to add him to the graphic. We were considering it seriously.
Yeah, this is facts. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Boom. FTV 1939. He says water is 9 plus 10% wet.
Another week, another water is wet debate.
I don't even know how to answer that. Like,
so you think water is 19% wet, then I guess I don't know.
I don't even know. Like, it's not a percent plus percent; it's a number plus a percent. So I don't know what he's going for.
I'm not even gonna try to make sense of this.
Yeah. So this is not even on the
X move on
a meter. Yeah. Okay. So we got friend of the show Polk. We need to do a basketball show with Polk. Deshaun Watson will never play another down for the Texans and will likely never play another down in the NFL again. How do we feel about the Deshaun Watson saga?
This is a two-parter. I think obviously the first part is, will he play for the Texans? I don't think he plays for the Texans. I think he's out. I think he's probably
he's done with the Texans.
It looks like he's going to. I think Denver was a third team. Or no, it was Tua was going to go to Denver. Was
it Carolina, Washington, and Denver? I guess Miami was
one of the two. I think Miami is going to get Deshaun, and then Tua was going to go to Denver, I think it was. I don't remember 100%.
I also heard Washington floated around there for Tua. And Philly has an argument to go after Watson. I think that could be fun. They do have 3 first-round picks this year, and all of them look to be halfway decent, pending what the Colts do the rest of the way. But, yeah, I agree. Watson's not going to play again with the Texans. That's pretty cut and dry. But talking about his NFL future, I do think it boils down to the legal issues and whether he goes on the commissioner's exempt list and how that works out in the end. Because this is like a Trevor Bauer situation with the D words, that has to be finalized first, right?
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is not playing on his own accord, but if the Texans tried to play him, big shout out, Tyrod Taylor is coming back this week. If the Texans tried to play him, the NFL could be like, we're just going to put you on the exempt list. So Tyrod, you're back in. So I think that's the issue that the Texans are running into, or that Watson is running into, that he has to figure out the legal issues before his next step. Exactly. So I think eventually the legal process works its way through, but he might not play until 2023.
Yeah. I mean, you just kind of have to wonder, like, how long does this whole thing last? Like, where there has to be some kind of rule in place. Like, it feels like it's at a standstill right now, and it can't be a standstill forever. Eventually something's going to have to be figured out, and I don't know where the whole situation is right now, so we're going to have to wait and see.
So we have a raging debate in the comments, right? We have Holden and we have Frankie. They're going back and forth. Here we go. Well, I'll tell a story. A couple of weeks ago, like maybe week 3, Holden, a friend of the show, posted on the app, the U Stadium app, make sure you download it. He posted Cooper Kupp is a top 5 receiver. And his post had Cooper Kupp as a top 5 receiver, and then it had his stats. So he was tied for first in catches, first in yards, first in touchdowns. And I distinctly remember commenting, and I said, I don't disagree with you, something to that effect, but I don't like how you only use stats here. And I think you need to look at more than stats. So the last few weeks, Cooper Kupp has gone ballistic. He is I think he's on pace to break the fantasy points record for wide receivers, even without a 17th game.
I think he's in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, wide receivers never won the MVP, by the way. Yeah. So Holden continues to bring up Cooper Kupp, top 5 receiver, top 5 receiver. Frankie, not a top 5 receiver. Holden, top 5 receiver. Frankie, I think Hopkins, Adams, Diggs, Hill, and Jefferson are your top 5. But Kupp is amazing. I still have DK as a top 5 receiver. That offense makes me mad. Frankie, Kupp was putting up solid numbers with Goff at quarterback. His only problem was staying healthy. He is top 5, and I want to see what these guys have to say about it. DK is solid, no doubt. Yeah, let's get both of their top 5s. Splash and Jack, give us your top 5 wide receivers. So I have mine.
Suddenly I have to come up with a top 5 receiver list. I was not prepared.
Okay. I'll go first. And I'm going to say 5 names, and then I'm going to order them. So here's my 5. And this is not based purely on statistics, because that's a very different list. Deebo Samuel is top 5 statistically. Respectfully to Deebo Samuel, he is not a top 5 receiver. Right? That's telling me, oh, you're putting him ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, who's not having the most dominant of statistical seasons, but he's still having a good season on a winning team, or Devontae Adams, or a variety of guys. So, are we ready? Are you ready for my top 5?
Give me your top 5.
So, first off, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins. That's the top 3 I came into the season with. I think Stephon Diggs has fallen out of the top 5. He's been good this season. But he's not been top 5. Calvin Ridley had been in my top 5 conversation. He has not played like that at all this season. I don't hate guys like DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin. Terry's had an awesome year in a terrible offense. But my 4 and my 5, gun to my head right now, I am saying Jamar Chase 4. Yes, the rookie, Cooper Kupp 5. So my top 3 right now would be Devontae Adams 1, DeAndre Hopkins 2, Tyreek Hill 3, Jamar Chase 4, Cooper Kupp 5. So I'm going to walk through. So why do I have Devontae Adams at 1? Well, the things Devontae Adams does
Superhuman.
As a route runner, no one's as open as Devontae Adams is. It just doesn't happen. And I've said this with Tyreek Hill, and I'll get to Tyreek Hill, that when you get as open as you do, as Devontae Adams does, the ball finds you, and Aaron Rodgers finds him. And it sucks that Adams is out on Thursday. That is a travesty.
It's the Cardinals are catching such a break. Like Devontae Adams,
they were missing their coach. Like
they were, but still,
you get what I'm saying. But what Adams brings as a route runner, I would argue, is the number 2 most dynamic trait any receiver in the NFL has. Number 1 being Tyreek Hill's speed. So if you're building a receiver from scratch, and you have we did an NFL budget, right? Right. And Mahomes is like a $5 quarterback, and Kyler's like a $3 quarterback. If you're building traits, Devontae Adams has $6 route running, not even $5, $6 route running, and Hill might have $7 speed. So Adams, as a route runner, as a full package, as a consistent threat in an offense, give me Devontae Adams. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins. Not quite the route runner that Adams is, because no one's on that level, but he makes up for it in physicality. He's a guy that turns 50-50 balls into 90-10 balls. He is dominant in the air. He is dominant in the red zone. That might be the one qualm with Devontae Adams, ironically enough, because he led the NFL in touchdowns and had a historically great 18 touchdown season last year. But I think if you're going jump ball, I think you're going to lean Hopkins.
I'm going to lean Hopkins on jump ball every time. We saw it last year. He beat a 3-on-1 for that, the Hail Mary, as it was called.
Yeah, I mean, that was unbelievable.
No one else is going to win a 3-on-1 like that.
No, that's a Calvin Johnson-esque catch. DeAndre Hopkins is magical. I put Tyreek Hill at 3, but I do want to make it clear that Tyreek Hill is the most valuable wide receiver in the NFL, and he has the highest ceiling of any receiver in the history of the sport. Let me say that again. Tyreek Hill has the highest ceiling of any receiver in the history of the NFL. Why do I say that? Well, he has enough route running chops, and he has enough nuance. As a receiver, take away his 4.2 speed. As a receiver, he is a very good receiver. His hands could use some work, but every receiver has issues with drops at some point. Cooper Kupp even has a couple drops this season.
He's had it his rookie year. He's had it a couple times. And
so
everyone struggles. Everybody struggles.
Yeah. So if your argument is, oh, well, Hill can't catch the football. Okay. Well, Hill is the only player in the NFL that I trust to get as open as Devontae Adams. Adam does it as a route technician. Hill does it with blazing speed. He runs those crosser patterns, and it just is terrorizing. I do knock him down from number 1 with consistency, and I do knock him down from number 1 because he's had a good season, but Like Adams has been unstoppable, and Hopkins has been unstoppable, and 4 and 5 have been unstoppable. So Hill has everything going for him, and then has 4.2 speed, right? That is uncoverable. Like I can say all that I want about how well Devontae Adams runs routes. Well, the thing is, route running works, but then you can double team him, right? You bring a guy down and you cover up more options. You can't cover 4.2 speed. You just can't. Eventually, he's going to break a big run or a big play. Number 4, Jamar Chase. I don't know if I've ever seen a more polished player under the age of like 25. Like
I don't know if I've ever seen a more polished rookie.
Yeah, more
like what he's
let alone
doing.
Rookie. Like there are things that Jamar Chase does. He mixes and matches aspects of so many dominant players in the NFL. He is an awesome route runner. He can beat one-on-one coverage. He can beat zone coverage. And then when the ball's in his hands, he's devastating. He had a play against the Ravens. He had 76 yards above expectation on the play. He was supposed to get 6 yards. He turned it into 82. How many guys in the NFL are doing that?
Couple. Not that many.
Not many. How many guys are torching Marlon Humphrey for 200 yards? Not many. How many? You look at and this is, okay. Full disclosure, check out my articles on Primetime Sports Talk. I have had Jamar Chase in my All-Pro team since like week 3. So it's not you lit up your team, now you're salty. No, I'm not salty at all. This is a take that I would have had last week if the topic had been brought up. But Jamar Chase brings physicality to the position, brings really good speed to the position. He's not 4.2, but not many guys are 4.2. So he has the physicality, he has some speed, he has the route running savvy. He blocks. He is incredible after the catch. Like if you're talking well-rounded receivers, Jamar Chase is the most well-rounded receiver in the NFL. He has played 7 games and he's the most well-rounded receiver in the NFL. Like there is no one that checks as many boxes as he does. And look, Cooper Kupp is awesome. Cooper Kupp is tremendous. I have him at 5. He brings so much intangible to the field. He is an incredible blocker. He is also great after the catch. And I do want to point out where I was kind of wrong. In the offseason, I said, well, Woods and Kupp are goofy because you can't, I don't want to rank one without the other.
You can't put one without the other, but like I think as the season has gone along, it feels like Cooper Kupp has just been able to stand on his own a lot more. And yes. Robert Woods is still doing a lot of great things, but it feels like this is just Kupp's breakout, like true breakout year, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, like, this is a season that Kupp has been a no doubt top 10 player, a top 10 receiver, top 5 receiver. Like if you are making a list and he's not in your top 10, you have an issue. If he's not in your top 5, I can kind of see where you're coming from because there's just so many good receivers. I made a joke the other day. There's like 15 guys that could be a top 10 receiver, right? Like there are so many talented receivers and they bring such nuance to the sport that Cooper Kupp is a guy that his best attribute might be his blocking, right? And then you have the yards after the catch. Then you have the hands, which have been a little spotty at times this season. And you just kind of pile this into a guy that's awesome at football, but there's so many guys that are awesome at football. Terry McLaurin has a gargantuan number of contested catches so far this season because Taylor Heineke doesn't know how to throw the football. Actually, my favorite stat of the season, Terry McLaurin has 33 contested catch opportunities. 33. That's just about 5 per game. Guess who's second? I'll give you a moment.
To guess who's second?
Yeah, who's second?
In contested catches.
Yep.
Give me the team.
Chargers.
Is it Mike Williams?
Yes, it is Mike Williams. Mike Williams has 16 contested catch opportunities. That's about a little under 3 a game. Terry McLaurin is lapping the field in contested catch opportunities because he is playing with such an inept quarterback. I'll do my quarterback power rankings tomorrow. Sorry I missed last week. But there are 20 guys that I could say are top 10 receivers. Like Mike Evans just had a ridiculous game. Antonio Brown is having an awesome season. Marquise Brown is having an awesome season. Michael Pittman has been a revelation in Indianapolis. AJ Brown, Julio Jones, he still exists. DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, he hasn't played this season. DJ Moore, like Frankie mentioned in the chat. Like DJ Moore is ridiculous. There are so many.
He mentioned Corey Davis. I'm not even going to try to guess whether he's joking.
Yeah, that's funny. Then you have like DJ Moore, and you have Deebo Samuel, who's been ridiculous, and you have DK Metcalf, who had an awesome touchdown yesterday.
I love DK Metcalf. I wouldn't put Metcalf in my top 5, but I love DK Metcalf. What he can do, like his physicality, I think is like alone is enough to put him in like I'd say top 15. And then you have Tyler Lockett as well. Tyler Lockett's
and it just sucks that they don't have Russell Wilson throwing them the football right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I know you hate the Seahawks, but just as a football fan, it sucks that
as a football fan, I want to beat the Seahawks with Russ. I want to make Russ look like a goof.
So let me recap my 5. So at 5, I have Cooper Kupp. At 4, I have Jamar Chase. At 3, I have Tyreek Hill. At 2, I have DeAndre Hopkins. And at 1, I have Devontae Adams. But I do want to throw it out there. Those in the comments that disagree, I'm not actively disagreeing with you. I think there's a million ways you can rank these guys. If you still think Tyreek Hill is the number 1 receiver in the NFL, I will agree with you on some days. If you think Hopkins is like Nelson, that's fine. I can agree with you. If you think Kupp is the best receiver in the NFL, that's fine. If you think Chase is the best receiver in the NFL, Deebo, or I don't know. Well, maybe not Deebo as the best receiver in the NFL, but
don't say Deebo.
He could be a top 5 guy. So there's so many guys in this conversation. Stephon Diggs is still in this conversation. Like there's
Diggs.
Diggs has been awesome this year, but he had such a great year last year, and it's taken a step back. It's just goofy. I do want to address a comment that I saw, and then Jack, we can head into your top 5. Marlon Humphrey is overrated. I'm going to give you 3 corners. They have something in common. Marshawn Lattimore, Jalen Ramsey, Marlon Humphrey. Do you know what they have in common, Jack?
Lattimore, Ramsey, and Humphrey.
Yes.
That's a good question.
They have a lot of things in common.
I know the answer is not single-digit numbers. I can say that right now.
It still aggravates me that Humphrey wears 44. Screw you, Earl Thomas.
I don't know. I can't figure this out. It's probably like a really specific stat or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
a very specific stat.
Yeah,
all 3 of them allowed 60-yard touchdowns on Sunday.
This is true.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey was credited on the DeAndre Swift 63-yard touchdown. Marshawn Lattimore was beat on the 84-yard touchdown that DK Metcalf had. I guess that was Monday, but you get what I'm saying.
The ironic thing about that is that it was a blitz. Like the actual play, it looked like a blitz. It looked like Ramsey was about to sack Goff, but he was supposed to be covering Swift, and he didn't.
Yeah.
So
is Marlon Humphrey overrated? Maybe, but I want you to have think to yourself how hard it is to be a cornerback in the NFL. How Stephon Gilmore had one of the greatest defensive back seasons ever. He won Defensive Player of the Year for it. Week 16, he was turned around and just abused by Stephon Diggs. Were you saying Stephon Gilmore was overrated? After that, maybe not. So I want people to hold Marlon Humphrey to the same standard that he came out against the Chargers and shut down Mike Williams. Mike Williams was having a all-pro-ish season, was definitely a Pro Bowler, probably the easiest Pro Bowler. He and Chase were just slam dunk, easy, no doubt Pro Bowlers than Hill and Marquise Brown. And Marlon erased him. He took him out of the game. He took a top 10 playing receiver out of the game. And then the next week, a top 5 receiver comes to town and lays waste. So, yes, Humphrey had a terrible day. And I think his 60 PFF grade or whatever was a little high. He had like a 65 grade in coverage. The touchdown's a little bit misleading because to me, it was more on the touchdown came from his inability to tackle Chase. He ended up with a tackling grade in the 30s. But his coverage there wasn't bad. Chase was expected to get like 9 yards. He gets 82, right? A 9-yard pass isn't the end of the world. Like those happen. He would have kept it in front of him. That's great. Allowing an 82-yard touchdown, that's the issue. So is Marlon Humphrey overrated? Perhaps, but every corner looks dumb. Every safety looks dumb. I have a screenshot on my phone of Minkah Fitzpatrick face down while Henry Ruggs is dancing in the end zone. Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of the best safeties in the NFL. He got dunked on by Henry Ruggs. Minkah
is not having a great year either, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Jalen Ramsey allowed a 63-yard touchdown. Allowed a touchdown a couple weeks ago to DK Metcalf. Marshawn Lattimore allowed a touchdown to DK Metcalf. The rest of the game, crickets. Now, granted, that might be due to Geno Smith, but crickets from Metcalf. So cornerback is an incredibly volatile position. People just remember that. Just remember that. That's all that I ask. Jack, hit me with your top 5.
I'm going to agree with you in your top 3. I think Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyreek Hill are my top 3. I'm going to put Kupp at 4, only because I love Kupp's route running. Like he has speed when he gets an open field, but I mean, what wide receiver doesn't? But I think that he is able to just like on the short plays as well. He was showing it off a lot yesterday. He was making a lot of nice moves to be able to get around guys. Like there were some times when I thought he should have been tackled here, and instead he pulls off like this spin move and avoids the tackle and gets the first down. It's not just what he does on all the deep plays, but it's his understanding of, okay, maybe I don't need to score here. I just need to get open, make this catch, make this move, get a couple yards, get the first down. I think that's what, yeah, Kupp, I pretty much agree with you there. Kupp puts people on skates. Like his route running is just disgusting. That's why I have him at 4. 5 is a little tough for me. 5 is a little tough for me. I'm gonna go the bold route and put Metcalf at top 5 because of his size. I think Metcalf has a nice. He's got a nice balance of both size and speed, and I think that makes him pretty dangerous. So
yeah, I think there's like such nuance with wide receiver that you can have a million different kinds, right? We have Devontae Adams is a route running technician. DeAndre Hopkins is a physical force. Tyreek Hill is perhaps the fastest man in the NFL. Cooper Kupp is like an elusive, like more like a running back with the ball in his hands, like that A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Laviska Shenault type of wide receiver. And he does that at an extremely high level. And then you have a guy like Chase, who's a prototypical X, who's polished at everything. He might not have, like with Chase, you might not have an A+ attribute anywhere, but he has like 10 A's, right? So when he gets his report card, it's all A's. When Devontae Adams gets his report card, there's like an A+ in route running and an A in the red zone, but maybe like a B in B physicality or like a B+ because he has to watch Lamar Jackson highlights to put moves on guys. But watching wide receivers is so fun because you can have guys like Hunter Renfrow, who's having a better year than Calvin Ridley. It's like, what? There's no universe that should be true. But hey, Hunter Renfrow is averaging more yards per game than Calvin Ridley is. Why?
No one knows.
Is as good as mine.
No one knows
because it's like Ridley, it's so weird.
At the end of the day, the only thing I've pulled away from this is that I think that I'm hopeful now that Tutu Atwell will blossom into a top 10 receiver at some point soon. We need it bad because that draft pick. Oh boy.
That was a rough one. And Nelson says Jamar Chase is the best rookie receiver since who? And he mentions Randy Moss. Okay. Chase has played 7 games. I'm going to pump the brakes in comparing him to Randy Moss. But I will say, as a rookie receiver, he's having the best season ever. And the stats show that. I think the consistency and the well-roundedness of his profile show that as well. If you're really picking hairs here, you can say Moss was maybe a little bit more of a one-trick pony, which is like disrespectful to Moss. But when we are
we got breaking news. We got breaking news. Dustin Hopkins to the Chargers.
Okay, I thought you said DeAndre Hopkins for a second.
I was gonna lose my mind if it was DeAndre Hopkins. I was gonna lose my mind if it was DeAndre Hopkins. No, it's Dustin Hopkins.
Okay. So we're chilling. Yeah, I would have Chase in that tier with Moss, and you can throw Jefferson in there as well. And we didn't even mention Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson is unreal.
He should have won Rookie of the Year last year.
Yeah, I agree. There's like 25. Deontay Johnson has been phenomenal this season. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, like I mentioned earlier, he hasn't played, but we don't know how good he is, right? Galladay and Robinson have had disappointing seasons, so you're probably dropping them down. But like I thought there were 20 of the top 100 players in my top 100 were wide receivers. And I believe that. And there might be more next year. You add in a Debo, you add in a Deontay Johnson, you add in Jamar Chase, of course. You add in Cooper Kupp was already on the list. I forget where he was. But you add in, I think he was on the list. Oh, now I'm having a brain freeze.
Yeah, I forget I forgot what your list was. I was trying to not make it the same.
He's been somewhere. I'm looking this up.
Should we move on?
Yeah, I think we should.
We've been discussing this for a little while. It was what was going on in the chat. So
okay, so let me make sure. First of all, if he's not in the top 100, I feel bad because I think he did. He was not. 20. He was wide receiver 21. I had him and Woods right next to each other, but he would have been in like my honorable mentions, like top 110. That is brutal. Oh, okay. Yeah. He was. We didn't even mention Amari Cooper. So I had Hill, Adams, Hopkins, Diggs, Julio, Thomas, Ridley, Robinson, Keenan Allen. We didn't mention Allen either. McLaurin, AJ Brown, Jefferson, Godwin, Evans, Metcalf, Galladay, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Antonio Brown, Odell, Kupp, Woods, Landry, Lockett, Thielen, Sutton. Brandon Cooks is having a good season. Gallup is hurt. Boyd, Higgins, Chark, Debo, Anderson, which is terrible now. Deontay Johnson, Curtis Samuel, which is terrible now. CeeDee Lamb, who could be top 25. Ayuk, Claypool, Mooney. See, the thing with Cooper that Holden mentions, the thing with Cooper is that he is that same kind of receiver that Devontae Adams is. Like there are very few players that run as polished routes as Amari Cooper, but the hands, he had great hands last year, but I haven't looked at the numbers this year for him with drops, but he had spectacular hands last year. That's the thing. Sometimes you just drop passes, right? Like Marquise Brown has 2 drops this season. They came on the same drive against the Lions. So, and this is Holden's top 10. He goes Adams, Hopkins, Kupp, Hill, Metcalf, Jefferson, Diggs, Chase, Ridley, McLaurin / Brown. I don't know if Ridley can be top 10 right now, man.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
All right. With that said, we have gone way off topic, and this is going to be a pain to cut up tomorrow or cut up later tonight. But
let's relieve Splash's pain a little bit here.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back. Crippled _child. Texans are fighting for playoffs if Tyrod doesn't get hurt.
No.
Okay. I'll play devil's advocate here. I like Tyrod.
I like him too.
I'd like some of the pieces they've had on defense. Jonathan Grenard has been, I did a surprises and disappointments. I might actually turn that into a video. Do you think that would do well if I did like 13 surprises and 10 disappointments so far this season?
That'd be decent.
Yeah. Make sure, remind me and I'll send that to Henry. I had Greenard, whatever, missed it by a spot, right? So the Texans are weird, stupid, bad, terrible, awful SEC level with Davis Mills. I think they're a competent NFL team with Tyrod Taylor. I'm not saying they're going to win 10 games or anything, but they are a team that I think can be competitive with Taylor in. So
if we see Taylor against we play them next week. If we see them, the game might be a little bit closer. Like obviously everybody's expecting them to blow us or us to blow them out. But
I think the spread is 14.5 with Tyrod. If Mills was in, it'd have to be 18, 19 maybe. Like Mills is
This is so true, and I wish it wasn't true, but it is. Raheem Morris is doing some weird things this year, man.
Oh man,
weird things.
The Steelers, they do some goofy things with their linebackers.
We should not expect. I don't know. I don't even know what to expect anymore from the Rams this week. I mean, we should win, but who the hell knows?
Yeah. All right. We got Chef Squill, friend of the show, and he hosts his own show. He and Colton host a show at 5 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. Check it out tomorrow. He says, Chiefs miss the playoffs.
I'm going to put this one on Habanero. I think they're a good enough team to respond, but Patrick Mahomes has been putting up a lot of disappointments lately.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want any more evidence that the Chiefs are building around him, the dude signed like a 10-year extension. He's like a $500 million athlete.
$million.
I mean, it's tough to see a world where they miss the playoffs, but it's a lot more likely than people might think, I think.
Yeah, so I did NFL Playoff Predictor last night, and I ended up with the Chiefs at 9-8. So they're 3-4 now, so that would put them at 6-4 the rest of the season. I think they lose to Green Bay. I think they split with Vegas. I do think they beat the Chargers and they beat the Broncos both times. They play. I think I had them losing to Cincinnati, but I do think that was out of spite of the Bengals, not out of me believing. So the Chiefs, I think, are around a 10-7 team. But here's the issue they're going to run into, that they could run into. They already lost once to the Chargers, so they have no margin for error with the Chargers. They lost to the Ravens. The Ravens are going to be in that 10-7 group. They did beat the Browns. They have to beat the Steelers coming up. They need to beat the Bengals. Those games are going to start mattering. And if you have like the Bengals and you have the Steelers, you have to beat those teams.
Yeah. This is a good point. They added another playoff team to the mix this year, but I don't know.
Okay. Pause for a moment. The Atlanta Falcons are tied for an NFC playoff spot. I don't know what your AFC is struggling. Like, yes, the top 6 teams or the top 5 teams in the NFC have separated themselves. I agree with you. They're 5 or if they're your top 5 teams in your power rankings, I'm cool with that. But the middle part of the NFC sucks. Like, it's Minnesota and New Orleans and a whole bunch of suck. Like, Atlanta is 3-3, folks.
Yeah.
What? Like the Chiefs are out of the playoffs. And yes, the Chiefs are playing like crap, but you also look and you have Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, Jones, Matthew, and you're like, this team is eventually going to figure it out. And if they do, they're going to be the scariest 6 or 7 seed in the history of the NFL. I don't know. Do you think they're going to figure it out?
I think so.
Because I have my reservations.
I can see a world where they miss the playoffs. That's why I'm like pretty high up on the hot take meter, but I'm not like just jumping pepper X. Like, there's a world where they miss it if they don't figure it out. And like, you can't brush aside these struggles forever. It feels like we're still not hearing enough talk about how Mahomes is not playing like he's supposed to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does he have, 9 picks this year?
Yeah, he has 9 picks.
I don't remember if Wilson threw one against the Titans.
That was just a travesty right there.
I mean,
that was bad. But yes, the NFC has 5 elite teams in my eyes. The AFC probably has 2 right now. The Bills. Do you want to call the Bills an elite team? Their 4 wins are over terrible, like legitimately.
They lost to the Steelers.
Yes, they lost.
They blew a lead to the Steelers.
Ugh,
I'm going to call the Bills good. I'm not going to call them elite.
What a strange year. So let's continue.
Such a weird season.
We have Jameson Winsky. We have Jarek. I don't think it's a hot take, but the Saints are a top 10 team.
I think that's a bit of a hot take.
So I have them at 13 in my power rankings. I'm going to try to do my power rankings from memory. Okay, so I have Arizona 1. Arizona is better than New Orleans. Tampa is better than New Orleans. Green Bay is better than New Orleans. The LA Rams are better than New Orleans. I think Cincinnati is better than New Orleans. Buffalo is better than New Orleans. Dallas is better than New Orleans. Tennessee is better than New Orleans. I think Baltimore is better than New Orleans. I think the Chargers are better than New Orleans. 11.
Did they have a bye this week?
Who?
Chargers.
Yeah, they were on bye.
Okay. No wonder I wasn't yelling at them this week.
11. I think Cleveland is better than New Orleans. I'm not super confident in that right now, but I think over the course of a full season, they're better. And then I think Minnesota is better. So they're at 13. But it's like I don't know. I don't hate it. I disagree with it. I don't hate it, though. I think New Orleans does bring a lot of things. but they lack in receiver explosiveness. Like I don't trust. I had this argument with Frankie yesterday that, Jameis isn't a real quarterback because he can't throw for 300 yards. It's not that he can't throw for 300 yards. He's just not in a situation that is like it is a good idea to try to throw for 300 yards because who's his number one receiver? Marquez Callaway, Tre'Quan Smith, Jawan Johnson. He's a tight end technically, but you get what I'm saying. Like I have my reservations with the Saints. I like the offensive line play, and I like it even more without Andrew Speed. Sorry to the 3-time Pro Bowler. I love the defense. Like Cameron Jordan's having a fine season. Demario Davis is unreal. And I have two members of
the elite.
Future Hall of Famer. I have two other guys in my all-pro team right now. But I don't think Jameis is a top 10 quarterback, and I think it's almost a prerequisite to have a top 10 quarterback to be a top 10 team.
I think that's fair.
Or at least have a top 10 caliber quarterback. So this is like I don't know. If Kirk Cousins is the line of delineation, if your quarterback is Kirk Cousins, I think you're just outside of the top 10. Respectfully, I have them at 12. If your quarterback is better than Kirk Cousins, see Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, you are probably better than the Vikings, and you're probably a top 10 team. The only exception to that is Ryan Tannehill, but Derrick Henry is God right now. And Kevin Byard's playing at an all-pro level, and Harold Landry is second in the NFL in pressures. So, Jarek, I don't hate it, but I disagree with you. All right. So Holden said Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver in the league.
We kind of talked about that already.
Nick says all of your hot takes suck. That's my hot take.
That one sucks. That's my hot take for the week.
That's too funny. All right. Respect my 40. Derrick Henry and John Morant will win MVP.
That's a good question. I don't know enough. I'm a basketball casual, so I probably can't answer John Morant.
So I like the John Morant one. He has been balling out to start the season, and it's if you get the storylines behind you, I think it can really work. Derrick Henry, it's a tough hill to climb because he's a running back, but I don't hate it either. I think I would take Ja over Henry because position, but I like it. I think that's a good hot take. Like when we ask for a hot take, I think that's
pretty much the one we're looking for. I like that one. Yeah. Look at the last one. A. Freeberg says Brady is the MVP right now and will win it.
I disagree. I think Kyler is the MVP right now.
I think he's up there, yeah, for sure. I mean, I said Kupp was a candidate. We've said Henry is a candidate. Yeah.
So right now I would say Kyler's one. Brady is in that second tier of guys with Dak and Joe Burrow. I think you can throw in there now. Derrick Henry. If you want to throw in a defensive guy, I don't hate Max Crosby. I don't hate Cam Hayward. I don't hate Aaron Donald, or Garrett or Trayvon Diggs, or even heck, Kevin Byard's been unreal last month. So obviously defensively, wide receiver, running back, you're going to have a hard time doing it, but quarterback, I think it's going to boil down to whoever gets the number one seed in the NFC. So if that is Kyler and the Cardinals, I think Kyler wins MVP. If it is Tampa, Brady, I think Brady wins MVP. Rodgers and the Packers throws a wrench into this, and the Rams realistically throw a wrench into it. I know, look, Stafford's having a good year, but I think he would need to have a solid step up in like eye test and production to say he is an MVP candidate. I'm not saying he's having a bad year, not at all, but like he's playing like a top 10.
You have to clarify that because I know Holden's going to go off in the chat about that.
Yeah.
But
Matthew Stafford is a top 10 quarterback, but he is not having a Tom Brady, Kyler Murray season. Like you look at Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp is making a lot of things happen. And you have Sean McVay, and he's making a lot of things happen. You have Darrell Henderson making a lot of things happen.
This is what I love about the Rams offense this year too, by the way, is like everyone is doing something. It's not just on Stafford to ball out every week. It's not just on Kupp to ball out every week. It's not just on Henderson to ball out every week. Everyone is contributing every week.
I agree. I think it's to me, the Rams might be the best team, but it's a collection more than a Stafford, right?
Exactly.
And I'm not saying the Bucs or the Cardinals aren't, but I think the percentages are like a little bit more so favoring Brady and Kyler. So that will wrap us up for hot takes. We're at the 45-minute mark.
We got really deep into that wide receiver talk.
Yeah. So let's go blitz through some of our games. Thursday Night Football, Dearness Johnson is God tier.
I loved watching him play on that game. I think that's like the best underdog story ever, if you want to call it an underdog story, because the way he was able to bounce, to just step up. Everybody's hurt on the Browns, and he steps up and he plays well. Somebody mentioned, I think, did we tweet this? I think we tweeted something about how he was like sending DMs to all the AAF teams in 2019 because he wanted to play in the league. So like he was like messaging people from the teams and like sending him his highlights and stuff like that. That's a fun little story.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see him succeed.
So big props to him. What's an early game on Sunday that caught your eye?
Early game on Sunday. I'm going to watch the ticker here, actually, because I think that's we could talk Kansas City. We kind of already mentioned Mahomes is struggling.
That was a rough one. That was just rough.
Carolina, New York.
The Titans didn't score in the second half.
The Chiefs. The hangover. The hangover's getting them.
Yeah, it is. If we want to touch on the Ravens game, the Bengals essentially walked into M&T Bank Stadium and pantsed the Ravens. Speaking of pants,
I love the way you use that phrase.
What happened in Foxborough on Sunday?
Oh, you know what happened? The Jets entered the building. That was mistake number one, was getting off the team bus and walking inside.
There are a lot of goofy things I saw on Sunday. The Texans ended a game with 5 points. The 49ers and Cardinals.
Scorigami, I think.
Yeah, yes, that was Scorigami. The 54-13 was not, ironically enough.
I'm surprised the Giants-Panthers game didn't end in Scorigami. It was like 3-2 for the longest time.
Yeah. So let me wrap up some storylines. The Chiefs scored their fewest points in the Mahomes era. The Giants won by 22. The New York Giants won by 22. The Lions led for most of 3 quarters. The Buccaneers had 38.5 or 35.5, right? The Colts and Niners combined to have 1 million fumbles. And Geno Smith had more passing yards on one play than he had the rest of the game combined. But the dumbest thing was the New England Patriots, quarterbacked by Mac Jones, scored 54 points in an NFL game. Let me put this into perspective for you guys. The Patriots coming into the game had played 6 games. Obviously, they hadn't scored 54. No one had scored 54 since the Bills dropped 56 and the Dolphins had last week 17. And then before that, it's pretty rare. The Rams got to 54 in that Monday night game. The Ravens had 59 against the Dolphins. You got to be really bad to allow 54 points.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins.
Oh, I wouldn't call the Chiefs bad in 2018. That was just offenses were going nuts.
Good point.
And like defenses were scoring too in that game too.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. That would be fun to revisit that game one day and just think about.
Yeah. Do you watch or do you listen to Bill Simmons at all?
I've heard of him.
Okay, so he does primarily basketball stuff, but he has this series called The Rewatchables, and he goes back and goes through key moments in NBA history. Well, it's really a movie thing, but he does it with NBA Finals games, right? So he would do say 2016 Warriors Cavs Game 7. He would go back, rewatch that game, and talk it through like it happened, like do a recap of it essentially. So we could do that. That'd be a fun one for Chiefs Rams.
Yeah,
we might get copyright nuked by YouTube, but that would be fun. But the New England Patriots scored 54 points. Just to outline how difficult that is, they had no defensive touchdowns in that game, and they do not have an elite quarterback. How, like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can feasibly score 54 points against an NFL team. Yes, I know Mike White had a terrible game, but they scored 54 points. And you remember the teams I mentioned: Josh Allen, elite quarterback. They also had a return touchdown. Isaiah McKenzie had like 3 touchdowns. The Ravens had 59. Lamar Jackson won the MVP that year. The Rams had 54. They had multiple defensive touchdowns. You go back, the 2011 Saints, they have 62 against the Colts. 1, they were playing a terrible Colts team. 2, Drew Brees was playing at an MVP level that season, just got not robbed, but he happened to have his best season of his career in the year that Aaron Rodgers had the best season by a quarterback in the history of organized sports. And you just look at it and you're like, I looked at the score and just they kept scoring and scoring.
I was surprised when I literally typed it. I lost focus on the game because like the Rams game was starting soon. I think there was it was like, oh, the Jets are getting destroyed again. I'll just tune it out. I was typing the scores for the ticker you guys see at the bottom, and I look and I'm like, wait, they scored 54?
Yeah.
Like what? Like, oh boy.
Like
something's wrong in Jetland again.
And I thought the Ravens got pantsed. What did the Jets do? Like I think what the Jets did, they walked out of their house without clothes on. They just had a backpack. They just totally forgot. It's like the the Emperor's New Groove, like the Disney movie.
Yeah.
So the myth that's based on is the Emperor's New Clothes. So the guy, the designer of the clothes, pretends that he has this invisible fabric, and his goal is to make the king look like an idiot. And the king can't acknowledge that he screwed up, so he has to he's not seeing any clothes, but the guy's like, oh, it's the finest invisible clothes imaginable. So he gets paraded around the city naked because he's wearing invisible clothes. That's what happened to the Jets. And Mac Jones was the creator of these invisible clothes. That is mine. I like Mac Jones a lot. That is
what an analogy. What an analogy.
There we go. Stefan has puns. I have the analogies.
There you go. Speaking of the Ravens though, do we talk about how the Bengals? We should mention the title because the Bengals are. Oh boy.
Yeah, I have them at number 5 in my power rankings right now.
This is such a glow up that they've gotten this year. I mean, I knew once Joe Burrow, like if he had a good offensive line, I thought that would help him out. Mm-hmm. But him and Jamar Chase are just
special.
What a connection that is. I love watching them play.
I hate watching them against the Ravens. I love watching them against every other team.
Yeah, that was. I don't want to stay like too much into this, but I feel like it's it's cool to see them succeed after so long of just them not doing too hot. I think that they, Cincinnati, like they have a good football team for once, so they should enjoy it.
Agree. And I do think one thing I want to point out that I do think this game kind of got away from Baltimore at the end, and splash, they lost by 24. But this was a close game. And then even the 82-yard play by Chase, it's a 10-point game. Baltimore forces a takeaway. Marlon actually got an interception. So it's 27-17. Baltimore gets the ball back on their 20, and they just couldn't convert on 4th down. They could not move the ball down the field. So I think it was a good game for about 3 quarters, 2.5, 2 3/4. And it was like a good game. And then the wheels came off because Baltimore was chasing the game. And just sometimes when you're chasing the game, you need that 4th and 8 to extend the drive. Baltimore didn't get it. You need that 4th and 6 to give you a chance. They didn't get it. They need that 3rd and 17, right? They need to pick that up. They didn't get it. Or they need that big run. Lamar did get a big run. He had a huge run spiraling down the sideline, holding offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down. That sort of BS, right? So you have this 35, 40-yard run, and it's all washed away. So I think Cincinnati is very good, don't get me wrong, but I would pump the brakes on any Baltimore hate. Just not hate, but like I would pump the brakes on like lowering Baltimore, but guns blazing on Cincinnati. They were spectacular.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of where I'm at. Should we move on to Rams Lions?
Yeah, let's head there. I
Dan Campbell.
I have a stat for you first.
Give me a stat.
Yeah, I have a stat for you. Okay. In the first 480 minutes of regulation this season, the Detroit Lions, the first 360 minutes of regulation this season, the Detroit Lions ran an offensive play with the lead. 0
Oh, yeah. This stat 0 times. And then the reason they did, oh, Jesus. Do I even try to describe the start of this game? I'm going to try to do it.
I have one. They pulled out all of the stops.
I put it in the description. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at the Rams. If there was a game that Dan Campbell wanted to win, it was this one. It starts
game.
Yeah,
the Michael Brockers revenge game. He was in my article the other day.
Yeah, he was less talked about than golf, obviously, but
yeah.
The game starts with Detroit scoring a touchdown, and I'm a little bit.
Sean Robinson revenge game.
Was he on the Lions? I thought he was on the Bears.
I thought he was on the Lions.
I don't remember. Anyway.
Is he on the Bears now? Because I know he's played for both the Lions and the.
He's on the Rams now, but I don't know.
Okay, because he had been in Detroit. Okay, regardless.
Regardless. Anyway, someone on the Rams goofed up. Apparently, it was Ramsey because that's who it was credited to. They blitzed Goff. Goff got the ball out quick. Swift made a ridiculous catch. I thought that was a really nice catch that he made. And then because the Rams blitzed, they had nobody.
I'm doing my best DeAndre Swift impression.
Yeah, they had nobody down the field. He was gone. And then, okay, I'm sitting there thinking, all right, that sucks, but we can bounce back quickly on offense. The problem is you can't bounce back quickly on offense if you don't get the ball. And the Lions, being as ballsy as they were, go for an onside kick, recover the onside kick. The drive stalls, it's 4th down, and they fake punt and get it. And I'm just like, oh, God, it's going to be this kind of game, isn't it? They're going to throw literally everything at us on special teams.
The Rams were 17 or 16 and a half point favorites.
Oh, God. I mean, he's the most fun 0-7 coach I've ever seen. I'm going to be real with you.
Amen to that. I said last week, I think the Lions are overrated. I think they are a team that deserves to be 0-7, but I do think they're a fun team to watch.
Every time I think somebody brings up Dan Campbell, I always talk about how this guy straight up refuses to acknowledge that the Lions are in a rebuild. Like he goes out there and just
balls out, or he tries to ball out
every week. He does. He tries to get something crazy done. Thankfully, the Rams offense was finally up to the task once they did get the football. Mm-hmm. I don't think they played a terrible game. I think more of the struggles in this game lied within the play calling. I think that Sean McVay maybe called a couple bad plays when he shouldn't have. It was not the greatest I've ever seen out of him. It happens sometimes. That's not a huge problem. I don't think the Rams played badly, though. I think that overall, I'd say that special teams were where they struggled the most, because when you allow the defense to convert an onside kick, or the kicking team, I guess, to convert an onside kick, you will allow 2 fake punts to be converted against you. That falls on the special teams, and the Rams special teams have not been the same ever since John Fossil left.
Yeah, overall, just a weird game. Obviously, the Rams are better than the Lions. I'm not worried about the Rams, but it was a surprisingly fun game to watch. This was a terrible slate of games. Like we spent 45 minutes on the show talking about hot takes and top 5 receivers. We're gonna have 15, maybe 20 minutes tops about these games because they were just bad from start to finish. There were no storylines.
I think this is
there's Okay, the Falcons won on the last second field goal. Woo, 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 woo. There were like 4 games decided by not single digits, one score. Thursday night, Monday night, the Falcons game, and the
Do you remember?
What's the other game? I'm blinking.
Denver, Cleveland.
Yeah, Thursday night, Monday night, the Dolphins game. And is that it?
The Seahawks game?
Yeah, that's Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night. I'm looking along the ticker right now.
Yeah, there were like essentially no fun games to watch.
This was probably the only fun game.
Yeah,
I'd say Rams.
The best game of the week involved the Lions. That's saying a lot.
I mean, again, everything in the kitchen sink. They wanted. If there was a game that they were going to win, it was going to be this one. We're going to stick with the Rams for a second though, because they made a very interesting trade as of late.
I have a stat for this one. You ready for this one?
Somebody who balled out like crazy in the game on Sunday was Kenny Young. And a day after his crazy strong performance, I was talking to myself about how I'm going to talk about Kenny Young on the show this week. I am. I'm going to bring him up. I'm going to say he came over in the Marcus Peters trade, and it looked like he was probably not going to stick around in the team for too long. He's been a great contributor as of late, both last year and this year. Monday, I opened my phone up and I found out he's on the Broncos now. What's your stat?
Okay. So heading into week 7, the Denver Broncos had the number 1 run defense linebacker in the NFL. His name was Alexander Johnson. He is out for the season. In week 7 itself, the Broncos had the worst graded run defender and the second worst graded run defender among linebackers. So you go from a guy that Alexander Johnson was in my team of the year, or my all-pro team. He was having a special season. He was having just as good as any. Pick your favorite Kuechly, Wagner, Willis, Lewis, Brooks season. Pick your favorite. Alexander Johnson's up there. So I'm going to talk about Devondre Campbell later. Holy Christmas. He's having a year. But you have Alexander Johnson, who is linebacker 1, linebacker 2. He's out, and you replace him with perhaps the 2 worst defensive players the entire week. And that just a terrible defensive performance by. I know they only allowed 17 points, but it was all in like Case Keenum and Dearness Johnson, folks. So
Case Keenum coming in clutch to save another team again. What else is new? But yeah, my main concern with this trade is the fact that if there is not a corresponding move before the deadline, this is a stupid trade. This is an objectively
stupid trade. The Rams have
trade.
A linebacker.
They are looking at their young guys right now, and if they made this trade, if they trade away their best linebacker for a rookie to get play time,
I don't know.
I am screaming at Les Snead right now because that was. They have to be planning something. If they're a Super Bowl or bust team like they've proven this year, this year, I mean, there has to be something corresponding with this, or this is just a really stupid trade.
I can't think of any linebackers they can really go after. I mean, so thinking like a bad team that's getting worse, like Blake Martinez on the Giants, that doesn't sound fun. I mean, Shaq Thompson's hurt with Carolina. The guys in Atlanta's technically in contention, so we're not going to have them yet. Miami doesn't have any relevant linebackers.
Here's the thing, though. If it's to trade for another player, like another big name defensive player that's not a linebacker, maybe the rookie can step up and something can happen out of that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. They did recently restructure Rob Havenstein's contract.
He's been good this season.
He has been really good this year.
Rock solid.
Ultimately, though, I'm going to end the Rams talk on a happy note because how ironic is it that Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald combined to force the interception at the end to win the game? That's
good. That's good.
That's about as poetic gets.
Big props to Jalen Ramsey there. The Rams are 6-1. They are second in the NFC West.
First, hopefully, if the Cardinals or if the Packers still clutch up. If Aaron Rodgers is in the game, you never know.
Yeah, that's true. Do you know what happened the last time the Cardinals played the Packers?
What happened the last? Oh yeah, I do. I think wasn't that Mike McCarthy's last game before he got fired?
I think so.
They had gone on like this long win streak at Lambeau, and they just inexplicably got their asses kicked.
Yeah, they were 17-point favorites at home to Arizona, and Arizona walked in with some bum quarterback and beat them. Oh my!
I don't even remember who it was. It wasn't Sam Bradford, was it?
No, it was. People talk about the Browns and the Jets having like hilariously bad quarterbacks. The Cardinals have had 3 relevant dudes in like 50 years. No, okay, I wouldn't go that far. They've had some nice guys, but it's like, I mean, Derek Anderson had a Pro Bowl year with the Browns. So you have like, so if you go back, you have Kyler now, who's an MVP candidate. Between Palmer and Kyler,
was it Arizona, Josh Rosen?
The chosen Rosen. Boom.
Is that who it was?
And a half. Oh, Mike, boy. I don't think Austin said Mike Glennon. I don't think Mike Glennon's ever played for the Cardinals. He's been. Did you see my when I read out every player that's thrown for 300 yards in a game since Taysom Hill joined the NFL?
I did not read that.
That was I was trolling Frankie yesterday after he said he said something anti-Jameis Winston, and I said Taysom's not better. So with that said, we're at the 106 mark. What you want to talk about there, buddy?
Let's jump over to hockey really quick. I just want to show this image because I've been staring at it for a long time.
Go Wings. Some random dude had a hat trick the other day, so that was exciting.
Yay for the Wings. The Seattle Kraken.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The Kraken finally opened up their home arena, Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. And I just want to show it off because this thing is dope. They have
sick.
If you can see in the top right corner, that's a window that people can actually like walk by and see the game from outside the arena.
So it's underground?
It's underground, yeah. It's kind of like a mini SoFi Stadium in a way, where it's like a canopy-ish, but it's closed off in this case.
That's very cool. It's kind of like how Buffalo, like in Orchard Park, how their field is. It's like below everything else. That's
a lot of this arena is underground. The roof already existed. I think they just renovated the place underneath it. You can see by some of the banners the Kraken retired number 32. That was for being the 32nd team. It was also in celebration of their 32,000 season ticket holders, or whatever it was that they had. Nice. 32,000 seat investors or something like that. I don't remember what the term was, but yeah. And then the Seattle Storm play there in the WNBA. The dual Jumbotron idea, I like that. That's clever. The presentation factor, they're supposed to. I heard they hired the people who did it for the Golden Knights, so we could be getting something crazy for their next home game. They didn't have time. They didn't have time to rehearse it because when this place finally opened, it hosted like 4 concerts or something like that. And then the Kraken had a home game there. So
that's dope.
It's cool to see this place in action. I think it's really nice. Of course, I'm going to root against them when the Kings go there, but that's a story for another time.
Absolutely. So I have a hockey question for you, Jack.
Give me the hockey question.
So let's say one of you go to a Kings game. One of your Kings has a hat trick. What do you throw on the ice?
What do I throw on the ice? That's a good question.
If you have a choice of any object in the world, it doesn't have to be a hat. What would you throw on the ice?
If I was a Red Wings fan, I'd say an octopus.
Yes. Or does it depend on who the player is?
That's also a good question, actually. If it depends on who the player is. See, I don't like.
You think I'm going to give background. TJ Oshie had a hat trick. Someone, I think it was in Ottawa, and someone threw a bra on the ice.
Oh, I saw this. Oh boy!
So, what would Jack throw onto the ice?
I don't know. The thing about throwing stuff onto the ice is that you don't get it back, and it would have to be something that you're willing to lose.
Good point.
It reminds me of how the Kings once had a free hat day, and then Jeff Carter scored a hat trick on the free hat day. So everybody lost their free hats.
Would you have thrown a mustard bottle?
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I've seen Leafs fans throw jerseys on the ice in disgust. First of all, don't do that. Jerseys are expensive. Don't do anything bad.
I can't imagine partying with my Kaprizov or my Jimmy Benn or my Shanahan.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take off your Kaprizov jersey and throw it onto the ice. That's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go.
One day we're gonna have a live stream from a game, and like Kaprizov, it'll be like a Wild Kings.
I'm gonna rip it off and throw it out.
Actually, just get just suctioned away from my.
You know who I'm more angry with is I don't know how to pronounce his first name. It's like Yanni or Johnny or something. Hakanpää is his last name, because he delivered a very, very, very vicious knee-on-knee hit with Drew Doughty. Call it intentional, call it unintentional. I don't care. I think he meant to do it because they said there was intent to injure. There was no reason for him to do that. It was a brain-dead play. And now Doughty's out for who the heck knows how long, and Hakanpää did not get suspended. So,
ouch.
Even though he got kicked out of the game, which I think at least should come with one game. So, I don't know. I'm angry at him, though, because of that. So, screw that guy, I guess is kind of all I have to say about that.
I have a feeling I know another situation you're angry at.
What's the situation? Oh, wait. Before we make that transition, the Buffalo Sabres are 4-1-1. Let that sink in. The Buffalo Sabres have a decent record this year.
Wild.
Hockey's weird. Hockey's
weird. Basketball's weird. The Bulls are the last remaining undefeated team in the Eastern Conference. The last time the Bulls did that was 1997.
Here's what I'm going to do.
A dude named Michael Jordan was on that team, and they won the title that year.
Here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to turn around, and you can do your stupid little chop. Okay, now that we're done with that,
the Braves and Astros open the World Series at 8:09 p.m. Eastern, so in about 45 minutes. The Braves is their first trip to the World Series since 1999. The Astros their first trip since 2019. Funny enough, Game 1 is tonight. It is, I believe, Framber Valdez versus Charlie Morton, who, funnily enough, closed out Game 7 of the 2017 World Series. You might as well turn around, Jack. Yeah. Cool. Charlie Morton. Jock Peterson, Dodgers legend, is on the squad.
Jocktober, everybody. Now
also not friend of the show, but friend of my sanity, Jorge Soler is back. He is DHing. He's leading off for the Bravos tonight. He pinch hit in Game 6 against Dodgers. Had a I don't remember what he did. It was in the 9th. I think he grounded out or something.
Something like that. I'm gonna make an excuse for the Dodgers.
Shout out to Tyler Matzik before you get into your excuses.
Yeah, my excuses are that we got too injured and we just ran out of gas. That's my excuse. I think that we literally lost what's his name, Max Scherzer, right before he was supposed to pitch in Game 6, and we had to play Walker Buehler on short rest again. He had already played on short rest in the previous series. I know a lot of people hate the Dodgers, so I'm just gonna say it's fine. I hope that we retain a lot of people next year, because a lot of people, I think Clayton Kershaw is supposed to be a free agent. Corey Seager, he's supposed to be a free agent. A lot of big names in the Dodgers that look like they're about to be free agents. They will still be a good team. They should still be a 90-win team, maybe a 100-win team. And I'm going to just live with this for now. This still exists. So, all right.
Ooh. Yeah. So your injuries, we lost the best player in the National League back in July, and we're in the World Series. So
it happens.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. Last year, if last year goes differently, this year goes differently. You have a real World Series. The Braves don't have one yet. So
I hope you guys, I hope you guys do get this one, though. I'm not rooting for the cheaters.
I have breaking news.
It's not
really breaking, but it's new. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me stare deeply into the camera. Let me make myself.
Yeah, make yourself bigger.
Okay, here we go. Wait a minute.
You had it at first.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi, guys. Jack is backstage.
I'm here still.
So, I have a proposition for all of you listeners out there. Super chats are enabled again. So, if we can get $100 in donations on either tonight's show or next week's show, I will shave full beard. I might need some coaxing for like everything else, but I will say if the Atlanta Braves win the World Series by Tuesday, good sound effects, I will no longer have a beard. I will no longer have a mustache, and I will have much shorter hair.
Now I have another reason to root for the Braves.
Caveman Splash may be going bye-bye.
And on that note,
I think that's it for today.
Pretty much covered it all. More NBA tonight. LeBron is out, sad, but I think the Lakers should.
Evan Mobley is the second coming of Anthony Davis.
Hopefully the Lakers get it together tonight. They did win a game recently. Carmelo went off.
Mm-hmm.
So
that'll wrap us up for today. Anything else?
Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. This is usually Splash's line.
Smash that like button.
Ring the Le'Veon bell.
That Le'Veon bell. Man, why do the Ravens insist on giving Le'Veon Bell the football? Anyways, make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our personal accounts. Follow U Stadium at Twitter and Instagram at U Stadium. I'm going to try to spell it USTADIUM.
It was at the top anyway.
Huh?
It was at the top anyway. I guess that's why you closed your eyes, though.
I was like doing it in my head.
I'll plug the NHL Twitter really fast. I'm still
make sure you tune in tomorrow. We have 2 banger shows. We have Play Like a Jet coming on at 8 p.m. We got the Play Action Pod coming at 5. I have some stuff that I'm working on that'll be up hopefully tomorrow.
Both of us are working on something as well. We'll have our eyes peeled soon.
Yes, gang. And remember, folks,
Aaron Donald trains with knives.
And I'm trying to get the intro.